Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we'll continue reading from chapter 22 from Canto 8 from Brilliant as the Sun, a retelling of Srimad Bhagavatam. The chapter is Bali surrenders. Mukam Kroti Vachalam Pangum Langate Girim Yat Kripatam Vande Shri Kurum Din Tarinam Parmananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tatsat. Bali kept his head bowed. How could he break his promise? His reputation for being truthful would be destroyed. That would be worse than going to hell. Better to surrender to Lord Vishnu and somehow fulfill his promise. Vishnu was merciful. Many Daityas had attained a destination greater than most mystic yogis simply by their enmity toward him. Bali thought of his grandfather Prahlad and his great determination in devotional service. By his complete surrender, he had become glorious. Bali had to follow his example. That was the only choice left. Lifting his head, he smiled and said, "My Lord, most venerable one, if you think my promise has become false, I shall rectify matters to make it truthful, for I cannot tolerate breaking my word. Please therefore place your third lotus footstep on my head." Vamana also smiled. "So you think like this I will have you untied and you will not go to hell?" Bali shook his head. "No, Lord, I do not care that you have taken everything from me, nor do I mind that you have bound me and I am not concerned about going to hell. However, I fear losing my good reputation and being branded a liar." Vaman said, "Has not being bound up like a common criminal already diminished your reputation?" Bali said, "Although father, mother, brother, or friend may sometimes punish one for one's good, their punishment is never as severe as what you have meted out to me. However, since you are my revered Lord, I regard my punishment at your hands as supremely auspicious." Vaman frowned. "Why do you think like this? I am famous for helping the gods, not you asuras." Still bound tightly hand and foot and barely able to keep his balance, Bali humbly replied, "I consider you a better friend to the asuras than to the gods." "Oh, how is that?" Bali replied meekly, "You act for the best welfare by posing as our enemy. You therefore deprive us of our false prestige, which causes our bondage. I consider it your great favor to us asuras that you humble us by us, since humility is the first prerequisite for transcendental knowledge." Vaman laughed. "You consider me your well-wisher, even though I killed your ancestors Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. They were constantly inimical toward you, but when killed by you, they achieved the same perfection as great mystic yogis. Your acts bring about only good for all living beings. Therefore, even though you have severely punished me, I am neither upset nor ashamed." Vaman replied, "How do you have such a faith in me despite my ill treatment of you, Bali?" Bali said, "I remember the counsel grandfather Prahlad always gave me. He is famous as your great devotee because although continuously tortured by his father Hiranyakashipu, he never lost faith in you, considering you the only true shelter for all living beings." Vaman nodded his head by the way of expressing his appreciation of Prahlad's devotion. "Why do you think Prahlad chose to surrender to me over obeying his father?" "Because he was most intelligent." "How was that?" "The relationship between father and son is based on the body, but we are not these material bodies, and after we die, we will cease to have any further connection with either our bodies or relatives connected to these bodies. That may be true after death, but surely family members are more important than others during one's life." Bali grunted, "What use are family members? They drain a man of his wealth." "Oh, but surely they are source of pleasure," said Vaman. "Consider your wife, for example. She must give you so much happiness." Bali smiled. "Yes, but she has also increased my material entanglement. A married man is responsible for providing his children a home and other social amenities. Consequently, he feels obligated to maintain relations with other people in the community. All this wastes one's valuable human energy, which is meant to cultivate pure devotion for you." King Prahlad, being very knowledgeable, understood this and was wary of materialistic association. He surrendered to you despite his father's opposition because he knew this was the most auspicious course, and now he is highly revered by all while his father is dead, slain by you. It is my good fortune that you have forcibly overpowered me and taken away my opulence. Ephemeral material wealth deludes people, making them forget their precarious situation in this material world, that we can die in an unforeseen accident at any moment. By good fortune, you have saved me from this illusion. While Bali was speaking, Prahlad appeared there. He illuminated the assembly like a full moon rising at night. Dressed in elegant yellow silken garment, he was tall with long graceful arms, a dark complexion, beautiful eyes resembling lotus petals. Bali wanted to make his prostrate obeisances, but being tightly bound, he could only bow his head. He blushed with deep shame. His saintly grandfather always tried to give him good advice, but he had neglected it out of pride. Now look at this position. His esteemed grandfather would surely think his arrest was due to some grievous offense. Prahlad peered around the assembly, trying to ascertain who was responsible for his grandson's arrest. When he saw Vaman surrounded by his Vaikuntha associates, he immediately recognized him as Supreme Personality. Prahlad felt his skin horripilate, and tears of jubilation flowed from his eyes. He fell to the ground before Vamana. "Welcome, mighty devotee Prahlad. Have you come to plead on behalf of your grandson?" Vaman asked. Kneeling on the ground before Vamana with his palms placed together, Prahlad said, "My lord, you previously gave Bali his opulence. Now you are taking it back. I think this is your great mercy, because his exalted position as king of heaven made him forget life's real value. You have rendered him a great favor by confiscating his wealth." Turning to Bali, Prahlad said, "My dear grandson, material affluence is so bewildering that it makes even a learned, self-controlled man forget to pursue self-realization. Narayan, the Lord of the universe, desiring only your good, has taken everything away." Bali nodded. "Thank you, grandfather. By your grace, I can understand this truth." Embracing Bali, Prahlad once again bowed to Vaman and stood respectfully to one side. Brahma, who was sympathetic to Bali, had hoped his grandfather would secure his release. Prahlad did not ask for this, so he felt impelled to intervene. He was about to speak when Vindhyavali, Bali's wife, stepped forward, afraid and aggrieved about her husband's condition. After making her obeisance to Vaman, she knelt before him and, with folded hands and tears streaming down her face, spoke prayerfully. "My lord, you have created the entire universe to enjoy your pastimes, but foolish, unintelligent men like my husband, desiring to exploit your property, claim proprietorship. Certainly he has acted like a shameless unbeliever. He is foolish. He believed that the universe belonged to him and that he could give you charity. Everything, including our bodies, belong to you alone." Vindhyavali broke down crying, and Vaman smiled kindly at her. Brahma stepped forward and respectfully addressed Vaman. "O well-wisher and master of all living entities, worshipful deity of the gods, all-pervading personality of Godhead, this man has been sufficiently punished, for you have taken his all. Kindly release him. He does not deserve to be punished more." Vaman smiled at Brahma. "Welcome, Lord Brahma. How is it that you, the chief of gods, plead on behalf of this reprobate chief of the Asuras? Even his grandfather has not asked for his release. Why do you think he does not deserve further punishment?" Brahma said, "My lord, King Bali has already offered you everything. Without hesitation, he gave his lands, the planets, and whatever else he earned by his pious activities, including his body. One can achieve the highest position within the spiritual world even by sincerely offering you water, grass, or flower buds. Without deceit, Bali offered everything in the three worlds. How does he deserve to suffer arrest?" Vaman addressed Brahma in stern tones. "You think he does not deserve further punishment? Mighty Brahma, because of material opulence, foolish people like Bali become dull-witted and mad. They lose respect for even the gods, thus defying my authority. It is my special kindness when I take everything away from such arrogant persons." Feeling admonished, Brahma respectfully bowed his head and stepped back with folded hands. Turning to Garud, Vaman ordered, "Bring me the prisoner." Garud dragged the bound and unresisting Bali before the Lord, who addressed him in severe tones. "Bali, do you know for how long you have been rotating in the cycle of birth and death?" Bali stood with his head lowered, feeling too ashamed to speak. "Again and again you have passed through all the different species of life. Finally, by good fortune, you have obtained a rare human birth. Those I especially favor do not become proud despite possessing all material opulence. Normally, aristocratic birth Personal beauty, good education, and wealth cause a person to become falsely proud. If my devotee remains humble despite possessing such opulence, I generally do not take it away, since he will not use it to degrade himself. Bali bowed his head. How shameful was his position, yet the Lord had undoubtedly shown him kindness by saving him from the madness of his pride. It surely must be because of his love for his saintly grandfather that Vaman personally rescued him from the illusion of material enjoyment. Everyone waited in silence for Vaman to continue. What would he decide? Would Bali be banished to the hellish planets? Garud, Vaman called out in commanding voice, "Release the prisoner." The whole assembly exploded in shouts of joy and relief. Now free, Bali bowed before Vaman and waited for his command. With a smiling countenance and a voice softened with affection, Vaman addressed the assembly. "This King Bali has become the best among the Asuras. Although I have taken everything from him, he remains unperturbed and fixed in his promise. Even though bereft of his riches, fallen from his position, defeated and arrested by his enemies, rebuked and deserted by his relatives and friends, suffering the pain of being bound and censored and cursed by his spiritual master, he has remained fixed in truth. Earlier, when I said he had acted irreligiously by failing to keep his promise, I spoke deceptively. He has not abandoned religion, for he is true to his word." Everyone jubilantly chanted, "All glories to Lord Vaman, all glories to King Bali." After a few moments, Vaman raised his hand, and assembly again became quiet. He addressed Brahma and the assembled celestials. "Because of his great tolerance, I have awarded Bali a place not obtainable even by you gods. Later, during the reign of Savarni Manu, he will become Indra, the king of heaven. In the meantime, he will reside on the planet Sutala, which Vishwakarma made according to my specifications. It is hundreds of times better than heaven. Protected by me, it is free from mental and bodily miseries, fatigue, defeat, and all other disturbances. He may live there peacefully. Not even the gods will be able to trouble him there, for I will personally become his doorkeeper and always guard him." The Gandharvas beat drums, Apsaras danced, and the gods looked one to the other, amazed by Bali's good fortune. Bali sat in stunned silence. How quickly his situation had changed. His grandfather had been right. One is never a loser by surrendering to the Supreme Lord. Vaman then turned and addressed Bali, "My dear King Bali, with your family and friends, you may now go to Sutala, which is desired even by the gods. There you will enjoy great fortune while you rule over this planet. No one will be able to conquer you, not even the gods. As far as the Asuras are concerned, they will transgress your rule. My disc will kill them. If they transgress your rule, my disc will kill them." Bali fell to his knees before Vaman and said, "My lord, now that you have destroyed my illusion born from bad association, please do not again put me in a situation where I may become proud. I desire to remain your devotee." Vaman held up a reassuring hand. "O great hero, do not fear anything. I shall remain with you and protect you in all respects. Along with his associates, you will see me always, and by my grace, you will never again be placed into illusion despite your association with the Asuras." So this brings us to the end of chapter 22. Bali surrenders. Thank you for joining. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna.